your children, Lord. Even your children that left Egypt and ended up leaving with the treasure, God, and you bless them. And I just pray that same blessing will be upon us, even in these hard times. Help us to use wisdom and to understand what is happening. The absence of knowledge leads to destruction, Lord, and we need to understand what's going on right now in the world. So give us wisdom. We're asking you for wisdom tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. So it's kind of how this came about. You may be asking yourself, when you're looking at this printout, is I was praying about a month ago, kind of been looking at the storm from afar over the last year, and I just felt like we needed to be better prepared for what's going on right now. And I heard a startling statistic just a week ago. They said that if you had a salary of $33,000, that you would see an increase of $3,300 just in because of the inflation that's going on right now. So it's like 10% of your salary is just the increase, not the initial cost. And it's startling. The costs are going up. You get your electric bill right now, you'll notice it's up higher than it's ever been. Your gas bill, probably the place you notice the most right now is going to the gas station, going to the grocery store. It's scary, isn't it? Stuff that we used to buy even 6 months ago, 40, 50 cents more. And so we're in this reality right now. And I'm looking at what's going on. This is some of the scriptures God gave me. This is about the 10 virgins. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps, went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise. So half of them were wise, and 5 of them were not. And they were foolish, took their lamps, and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. So why do you think that was important in those days? You know, we don't really understand what darkness is. We have electricity, we have street lights. If you've ever been to a place where there is true darkness and no electricity, it is dark. That's when you can see in people's eyes how the white of their eyes really. And so those 5 virgins that took the oil, they understood what darkness was. They understood what it was. And they didn't want to be in the darkness. So the other ones, I don't know what they were thinking. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said unto the wise, give us your oil. Doesn't that sound like today? Everybody, you know, people are being unwise and they think they can be foolish, and then, you know, and they don't want to be responsible. Give us your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, no, lest there not be enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourself. So they didn't want to even go out and purchase for themselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. I mean, the whole idea of the light was, you know, you imagine in your wedding night, don't you want to see your bridegroom? Maybe you don't. So here's your bridegroom for your special night, and you don't have a light, and you're in complete darkness. Okay. Now tell me that's not where we're at today in this world. What's going on? And it's scary. So, and then they that were ready went in unto him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterwards came also to the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. For the kingdom of heaven is a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered them unto his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several abilities. And straightway took his journey. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded them with the same, and made them 5 more talents. And likewise, he had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged a hole in the earth, and with the Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with him. And so he had received the 5 talents, came and brought another 5, saying, Lord. So he was a pretty wise investor, took what he had and did something with it. Behold, I have gained besides this additional, And his Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. And enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Do you imagine that? Just because he was wise, God said, enter into the joy of the Lord. I mean, that's pretty cool. He also, that had received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I gave you 2 others. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few, and I will make thee ruler over many things. And also he said, the joy of the Lord is with him too. Then he, which had the 1, came to the Lord, and knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid the talent to the earth. So right away, he misjudged God, didn't he? His character completely, calling God a hard man, that he was afraid to do anything with it, So God wants us to take what we have and try to do something with it, I knew that thou wert a hard man. Here we go. And I was afraid, and I went and hid thy talent in the earth. His Lord answered and said, Thou wicked and slothful servant. Imagine that. Thinking he's doing God a favor by hiding it, and he's calling him a slothful servant. Thou knowest that I reap, that I sow not, and gather where I not. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I would have received my own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him. This is interesting. Who does he give it to? The guy that had the 5 talents to begin with. You imagine that? That is so against what we have today going on in the world. People think that they can take from other people. No, that's not biblical. It's not biblical what's going on right now in this society. Those that are productive in this world, those we should be heralding. Those people that are providing jobs for other people, we shouldn't be crucifying them for being successful. That's not scriptural. I will tell you that right now. It's not, even according to this right now. So it's very interesting, these 2 stories, and it's all about being prepared and being good stewards. And I looked at the 10 virgins, and then there's some other verses like in Proverbs 24. Does anybody have their Bible? You can read Proverbs 24:27, and then can someone read Isaiah 5:13, and probably the one that everybody knows the most, Hosea 4:6. So we have Proverbs 24:27. So who wants to read that? Okay.
24:27.
Yep.
Put all your work in order and get your fields ready, and after that, with your homes.
So, God just doesn't want us to be slothful and sitting around. He's actually telling us we need to get our house prepared, And when I was praying about doing this, I was like, Pastor Dave, and I'm one of the deacons on the board and stuff, and it's like, It's always been important to me that the gospel is very practical. Okay. Some of the stuff we're going to be going over tonight, it's not about the Bible or anything. It's just practical things, really. So who's got Isaiah 5:13? Okay.
Therefore, my people will go into exile for lack of understanding. Their men of rank will die of hunger, and their masses will be parched with thirst.
So, I mean, that's about being prepared and the knowledge. We need to have good knowledge. Hosea 4:6 is probably the most powerful of the. My people. No, Hosea 4:6.
And people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because you have rejected knowledge. I reject you from being a priest to me, since you have forgotten the law of your God. I also will forget your children.
So the idea, God wants us to have knowledge, wants us to understand what's going on. You know what's funny to me about money is most people have no clue where it comes from. Truly, where does money come from? Who, here's a $50 bill, which never happens. Okay. This is my birthday money, by the way, from my dad. This is a $50 bill. Okay. We like to say about "In God We Trust," which is on here, United States of America. But if you look up here, it says Federal Reserve Note. That's what it says. Do you guys know that the Federal Reserve is not even a branch of the government? It's a private bank. You guys know that? And yet, probably 90% of the people in the planet do not realize that this money is not even issued from our own House of Representatives, which the Constitution says that we were supposed to coin and make our own money. Thomas Jefferson was so against the idea of private banks controlling our money. And Madison, you could study that in history. They fought him for years. Madison was so against it. He says, "I killed the banks." Remember that statement in history? They fought against the banks. The idea that the banks control the money. And nowadays, so the Great Depression, why did the Great Depression happen? Does anybody know? The Federal Reserve cut off the money supply. Okay? Completely cut off the money supply. So farmers that needed to pull their crops out of the field, they couldn't go to the bank to get money so that they could get those crops out of the field. Those ships in the yards, they couldn't get their money to put fuel in their ships to haul that stuff away. So commerce stopped completely. Now we live in a different era right now. What do now? They flood the system with trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And for the longest time, the world has sat back and said, we are the currency of the world. And, we have this rapport with the world. In fact, you can't even buy oil overseas unless you buy it with dollars. We were telling other countries they had to use dollars, so they had to buy dollars so they could buy oil. Okay? That's how it works for the longest time. But guess what happened in the United States? We keep borrowing. We keep borrowing. We think that this money that the government keeps throwing into the system, it's like in some vault somewhere. Okay? Want me to really scare you guys? They don't even print the money anymore. They don't print it. They just create it in thin air. Poof. Poof. Do you know that if you took $1 bills and you stacked it up right here, $1 trillion, you could go to the moon and come back? You want to understand what $1 trillion is? Now you look at the last year, there's been $13 trillion thrown into the economy right now. And if you're sitting back and wondering why inflation is happening, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. And the idea that we're going to throw more money into it right now is just a farce. And that's why we have the inflation right now. And it's catching up to us, you know, and it's scary. It really is scary. And these banks are not doing us any favor with all this free money. All this free money, whether you're a farmer, all this free money always has so much you have to give up for. Like you can't even set your own commodity prices. I mean, tell me one other industry you can't set your own pricing. And you've given that away to these bankers. And that's what's happening all around us right now. And these people have a lot of power. And that's why we see gas at where it's at right now. So I want to be real with you. I want you to understand where it's coming from. We need to pray right now because things could get a lot worse. We haven't seen inflation like this in a long time. Now, because of that, because of all this inflation, we're watching, you know, all our prices go up, and it's costing us more and more. What I'm going to show you tonight will help you to at least counter some of the. Remember, I told you if you had made $40,000 or $30,000, you would see a $3,000 increase. I'm hoping that what I show you tonight will help you to be able to overcome some of that challenges. Now, I hate to say it. I know some of you guys don't even have you have flip phones, you don't have computers and stuff. It's time to talk to the grandkids. It really is. It's time. I'm being honest with you. There's so much that you can do on a phone that can save you money. It can also help you to connect with those grandkids, communication with them. I know it's very scary. Like my mom, you know, my mom never got her license. She was afraid to drive. Never got a license. You know, and you know that I had to teach her how to email. I had to teach her Facebook, all these things, and she figured it out. So I think that we all can figure out some of this technology because I think it's going to benefit us, okay? So I kind of hit you with the scripture, then I hit you with reality, and now I'm going to hit you with some cool stuff, okay, that I've been learning as I've been going myself. As you know, the coupon days, there are still, I got to admit it, my dad came and visited me for my birthday, and he's friends with the mail lady in Redwood Falls. And the mail lady always gives him coupons. And I couldn't believe it. He gave me these coupons for Dairy Queen. And I got them in my car right now. And I was like, wow, this is a good deal. It's like getting a large, what do they call it? A blizzard for the small price. That was one of the coupons. A free cone. I was like, I didn't even know they had coupons anymore. Because as far as I know, most of the savings is on the apps now. So you still can find coupons if you look. But at the same time, a lot of companies have switched. Subway, remember? $5 footlongs? They're gone. Where do you get the savings? You have to order on the app now. That's the only place you can get some of the savings you used to see. But I want to start with transportation first before we get into food. This is really, really interesting, guys. And it's pretty exciting, actually. So here's a list. So this is my Gas Buddy app, okay? So this is a Gas Buddy bank card. It's connected to my bank, which sounds scary to you probably. Okay, so it's my Gas Buddy card. And this is my Gas Buddy app, okay? And so when I'm looking for fuel, I will map out where I'm at. See how I can go all over Minnesota here? I drive to Jackson every day. So you can go to Sleepy Eye. We're in St. James, aren't we? So let's zoom into St. James here, okay? How many of you guys would like to save $1 a gallon on gas? If you follow what I'm doing right now, you'll do that. and it's not that hard to do. All right, so here's Casey's, right here, by Highway 60. Okay, so it's 20 cents off a gallon with this app. Okay, so when I go and scan this card, when I look at my bank account, it's not going to be $3.89 a gallon. It's going to be $3.69 a gallon. So they'll literally subtract 20 cents off a gallon for me. Okay, that sound cool, Harold?
Yeah.
20 cents a gallon off. Okay.
Yeah.
Want me to show you my fuel cost? And then you'll be running to get this card. These are my fill-ups here. 3 vehicles since March. Look at this. So look at this here. Okay, I drive to Jackson every day. All right. So back in March 18th, I saved $1.82, and the most I've saved, I think, is like $3 and something. But it adds up, you know. So it literally takes off whatever that amount is. So I know you guys are not driving as much as I am, but if you were, you would definitely be doing. Look at that one there for $48.79. That saved $3.34. Okay, you see how that can add up in a year? If every single time you're saving $3 or $4 a fill, it adds up. Now, I wish that was it. It's not though, because there's another app called Upside. This one's interesting too. So I'm going to show you not how to double dip. I'm going to show you how to triple dip. This is pretty cool. So that same gas station, they'll give me 13 cents a gallon off with that app. So what I'll do is, all I need to do for this one is scan the receipt. And then they'll give me gift cards. And see how my gift cards are? So I can, and then Dave was telling me you can actually get it deposited in your bank.
In that upper left-hand corner.
It says bank, your bank account. I was thinking maybe to go to my PayPal account, but you could get gift cards. So that's like cash back in your pocket there for just doing what you're normally. I'm not asking you to do anything that you're not doing already, you know? So, and then on top of everything else, guess what? It's a Casey's store. So Casey's has the rewards. So while I'm filling, if I put my phone number in, so for every point for, what is it, like,
I don't know what it is for gas. It's different for gas. But if you buy stuff in the store, it's 10 points a dollar.
so right now, with the 709 points that I have, I could save 14 cents a gallon off, or I could get $2.80 in Casey's cash. So I'm not doing anything more than what I'm already done. So far I just saved, let's say I have an empty tank and I'm getting 24 cents off a gallon, okay, on the Gas Buddy app. Then I'm getting 14 cents a gallon off on the Upside app. And then on top of everything else, they take the main number and they give me points accordingly, which is cash for Casey's. 3, I triple dipped just now. I'm probably saving over $1 a gallon. I mean, that's kind of the game that's going on right now. And you can do it with, I know BP, they have an app too. I can show you that. I've got the BP app. So BP, one thing I noticed too with these gas stations, let's say this sounds like too much for you. You could also just get the BP app or get the Sinclair app and go through there and pay for your gas through there, through your bank account. Just with that, without dealing with all the other stuff that I'm saying. But when you're talking $3 a fill, it adds up big time. So all the gas stations So there's BP, where we got a BP over here. In Trimont, we got Conoco. You can tell where I'm driving through every day. Yep, my Conoco app. Get that out of the way. So here's my Conoco. What other gas stations we got? We probably got Holiday. Look at that, they got 25 cents off. So even if you decided not to do the gas buddy or the upside, if you still went through the gas apps, you would still save at least 25 cents, probably 10 cents a gallon off. You know, I'm just trying to show you some practical things people may not be aware of. Here's one that you're probably going to be astonished by. How many of you guys replace your own air filters in your cars? Okay. Every time I buy a car, I don't care if it's 20 years old or it's brand spanking new. The first thing I do is take the air filter out of the car and I put a K&N air filter in my car. And you may be asking yourself, what the heck is a K&N air filter? Okay, let me first tell you what it does. A K&N air filter can save you in 1 year of normal driving 120 gallons a year of fuel. They estimate that you could save 1.5 miles per gallon. And I've seen deals where you could save up to 6 miles per gallon for an air, just putting it. Now, who would have ever thought that replacing an air filter in a car, you could save 120 gallons a year? Do you think that's a good investment for 120 gallons a year at $4 a gallon for gas? Yeah, it's a really good investment. That air filter is paid for itself. And you know what? K&N is being very, very they're very underestimating this value because they don't want to tell you they're going to get 10 miles per gallon because they can't prove that. But I know people that have gotten up to 6 miles per gallon with the K&N air filter in their car. And it's very simple to replace. Very simple. Another way you can save money on transportation, I'm telling you right now, one of the worst places to buy tires, I hate to say it, is these local shops. It's bad. Their markup is unbelievable in these shops. Online, I've seen anywhere from $50 to $100 a tire cheaper. How many sets of tires do you go through in a year? You got 3 or 4 cars going right now?
Probably one set. We don't drive that much.
Okay. So my wife drove 25,000 miles last year. I drove probably close to that. So you can imagine even a 50, 70,000 mile tire, I'm probably getting maybe 2 years out of it. And if those tires are $150 a piece times 4, $600. But now with inflation, some of them are up to $200 a tire. So buying your tires online is a pretty big deal. So there's some sites you can go to online. One of the ones I go to is tirebuyer.com. Tirebuyer.com, you can pick your vehicle. What do you got for a vehicle? Somebody, what year? What year is your vehicle? Somebody tell me. Huh?
08 Ford F-250.
08 Ford no, that's E-150, sorry. Anybody go shopping recently for tires in the area? Anybody? Get an idea how much they said they were going to cost? I know you guys are mechanical. Maybe you're shy or something. F-150, which one is it up here? The Laredo 4x4?
It's a 250.
Oh, it's a 250? All right, let's just say it's a super cab. Okay. So, you know what's cool about this site is the tires are in Sioux Falls at their warehouse. And the other thing that's cool about it is they'll FedEx right to your house. They'll drop the tires, and usually they're free. So you can see here that you could get from $108 a tire up to $344 if you want to get like a really expensive one. But what's cool is you can basically what I've discovered is sometimes I'm saving. May not be saving $50 a tire, but I'm getting a much better tire for my money. So if I can get a 70,000 mile tire, and then out here get a 50,000 mile tire, of course I'm gonna have a better tire, you know. So even if I'm saving $20 a tire, I'm still, you know. So this is just a taste. There are many sites like this. This is one that I use. Last year I had a situation. I have a Jeep Commander, 07 Jeep Commander. I could not find tires for that car. You imagine that? Brand new ones. I could have cash in hand. They didn't have them in stock. I had to go on eBay, believe it or not, and I bought a used set. So I'm not afraid to buy used tires. There is a place in Mankato that sells used tires. And you can look at them and see if there's any, they usually don't sell them if they had holes in them or they were redone, you know. I'm just giving you some practical stuff here because you're talking about saving. And some of those tires you can get for $20, $25 a piece. So imagine spending $700 on tires and now you're only spending $25 a tire or $40 a tire. It adds up big time. With that tire buyer I showed you guys, there are coupons you can add in there where you can get even additional money off. And there are manufacturer rebates. That's the cool thing. So let's say you save a whole slew of money in here, okay? I go in and I get a brand new set of Michelins for my Toyota, okay? And I get them for $125 a piece, and I found a coupon for 40% off. And what I'm telling you, I've done. I've literally gotten tires on here for $125 a piece, plus I added a 40% off coupon. And then I went on the manufacturer's website and they gave me $70 Visa gift card back. Okay? You're like, no way, this can't be possible. It's very much possible. And you know what? All I had to do to get that Visa gift card from Michelin was give them proof of purchase. That's all I had to give them. And they sent me in the mail a $70 Visa gift card. So, I mean, there's a game to play. I know some of you guys are afraid of going online, but I'm telling you, nowadays, you can save so much money. And it's not like it was. Back in the day, I know you used to go to your service shop and everything. And nowadays, it's much, much different. With some of the rewards you can get from the upside, you can actually, some guys, what they're doing is they're using their upside rewards to buy tires for the car. So the 20 cents off a gallon, they'll get a gift card for Tire Rack or wherever. Go to Tire Rack, guess what? Their gas that they put in their car paid for their tires for their car. I mean, that is awesome. Okay, if you really want to save money on fuel, you cannot drive like an NHR funny car racer. That's really what it's about. I've been doing a lot more planning my trips cruising speeds. Sometimes when you have a lot of shortcuts, you have a lot more stops. It's the stop and go. So be surprised. Like, okay, I drive from here to Jackson. You would think, get to Tremont, take the back way across. That's got to be the best way to save money. No, to go down to 90, get on 90 because there's no stop signs on 90. I can fly. So if I go down to 4, I got 1 stop sign. I'm telling you, if you start planning your stops, you'll save money on fuel. It's the stop and goes. It's weird. Think about it. Like, okay, I got to go to Sleepy Eye. How am I going to do it? I got to go to New Ulm. Which is the best way? Where I don't have stop signs. And that's what I try to do. Another thing that I've discovered is over the last year is I went and did my insurance renewal. How many of you guys have been with an insurance company for more than 20 years? How many during that 20 years have actually priced around, checked other places? 10 years. How many people have been with an insurance company for 10 years? 10 years, 5 years, 2 years. Okay. So here's my story. I got my renewal in January. It was expiring. I actually got it in December. Guess how much my insurance was for 4 vehicles and 3 drivers? $2,600 for 6 months. Okay. Those of you that haven't had a teenage driver in the last 50 years, it's going to cost you $600 at a minimum to have a teenage driver. $600. It's going to cost you $100. That's if they're good. If they get a speeding ticket, boy, you are in trouble. Okay. Or they get a DWI or something like that, it gets bad. They won't be able to afford to drive. They would have to work and drop out of school. Okay. So even with my son, A student, A honor roll student, college, you would think, here's my renewal, $2,600. I went to Allstate. They thought they were doing me a favor. They thought it was my constitutional duty to be their customer. And they thought, you know what, Raymond, you don't need to price. You don't need to look anywhere. You know we're giving you the best deal. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They weren't the best deal. And I called around. I went to State Farm, went to American Family. So the gist of the story is, if you haven't priced your insurance for your cars or your home, it's time to shop around. These people need to learn. They need to earn your business. And so needless to say, guess what happened? I found insurance with Progressive for $1,300. Okay, that adds up to $2,400 a year in savings. Forget the Geico 15 minutes will save you $500. I saved $2,400. That was the best phone call I've ever made in my life. Okay, we are in tough times. It's time to shop around. There's competition out there. Now, the reason some of this is happening is some of the companies are in some of the states that have been hit by a lot of the storms, and they have a ton of claims. And that's how they, you're from the South, you know what I'm talking about. So if you got Allstate or State Farm and they're in an area where they got hit hard, guess what they're going to do? They're going to put it to their customers, okay? Now, wait a minute. We're not in Florida. We're not in Arkansas. We're not in New Orleans, okay? It doesn't matter. You're under that umbrella of that company. So what do they do with it? They put it on the customers, even if you're not from that area. So it's good to shop around. I guess Progressive had a good year. They lowered their rates, and I saved some money. And not only did I save money, but I lowered my deductible by $250. So right now I have a $1,000 deductible. That actually saved me $250. So now it's $750 for my deductible on my car. So it actually benefited me too. And you may say to yourself, well, Raymond, you probably didn't get very good coverage. Well, About 5 years ago, I realized, okay, wait a minute, a brand new F-150 pickup costs $100,000 now. So should I have 100,000, 300,000 coverage like is normal? No, no, not in this day and age anymore. So I upped all my policies from 100 to 300. And you guys, I think you know what I'm talking about. 250 to 500,000. Okay. Now here's the trick you can do. A lot of insurance companies, they like to sell you a thing called umbrella policy. We'll sell you $1 million policy. And if anything ever happens, it's going to cover you in case you have something ridiculous happen, where you get in an accident and you have $1 million lawsuit or something, you know. Well, guess what? Minnesota is one of the states that allows the thing called stacking your insurance. So if you pay a little bit more money, you can get all your policies stacked together. So let's say, how many vehicles do you have? How many vehicles do you have on your insurance right now? You have 3 vehicles? So let's say you had 250, 500 on each of the vehicles. With stacking, you could get 250 plus 250 plus 250. So there's 750,000 coverage. 500 plus 500 plus 500. There's 1.5 million. Just like that. It's called stacking your policy. You got to tell them you want it. They are not going to want you to do it, but you do it. It will save. If you ever have a catastrophe happen, it will give you that umbrella that they're trying to sell, and it's a lot cheaper than what the umbrella policy would be. And they're not going to tell you about it. Yeah, so I got that in the notes there. Ask your insurance company about it. Best way to avoid expensive insurance is not to get speeding tickets, moving violations, DWIs. A DWI nowadays can raise your insurance 500 to 1,000%. Underage drivers with most companies start with a discount, but lose them as soon as these companies. They serve their own interest. Yeah, so you imagine that you're paying $100 a month, you go up to $200 or $250 a month if you have an underage driver. That's where it gets interesting. That's where you decide, guess what, kid, you're driving the school bus. One thing I discovered too is, do you have extra vehicles around? I'd be really, really hesitant on insuring vehicles you're not driving. But you have to be very careful, because you'll discover that if you have a vehicle on your property and you want your homeowner's insurance to cover that vehicle, you have to have lease liability on the vehicle. I know of someone down in Iowa, they had a ground fire that happened. He had about 10 vehicles in a shed. He didn't have any coverage, any liability on it. He went to his homeowner's insurance and said, you need to cover these vehicles. They said, we're not going to cover them. You don't have liability on them. Crazy. You want to hear something interesting? You want to burn wood in your garage? You're allowed to burn wood into a garage that is connected to your house, but if it's a building that's not connected, they will not insure it. Does that make sense? It's crazy. That's some of the rules. You got to read the fine print. It's like, yeah, so just to give you an example, you got an extra vehicle sitting in your property, you're not using it, it can cost you up to $2,000 a year to have it sit there. That adds up. It really does. And $2,000 is nothing nowadays for insurance. Yeah, so I told you the story about the shed. One thing that I've discovered is that you got to multitask the vehicles you have, okay? Example, I got the Jeep Commander. It's an extra vehicle at the house. One of our vehicles has trouble. I got a plow on it. So I'm using it to push snow. It's I'm making sure that it's adding value to whatever I'm doing. If you got kids driving, make sure they're driving their siblings. That's how you save money. If you're in the market of a new vehicle or a used vehicle, don't count on saving money buying local. I recently, in December, traded my vehicle off. Keep in mind, I've bought Kias for probably 10 years now. I bought either from Kia Mankato or I bought from Kia in St. Cloud. They're owned by the same company. Went in to trade my vehicle off, and you would have thought they would give me a higher trade than other places I went to. And it wasn't the case. And I ended up going up to the cities, and I went to Toyota up in the cities, and they gave me a lot better trade than I would have ever gotten anywhere here. So you got to shop around. Don't count on. I always thought that if you were loyal to a business, that they would be loyal back to you. And it's different now. It's really, really different. It's like that tire shop idea, you know? Yeah, so imagine the dealership in the Twin Cities gave me $2,000 more for my trade than the dealer that I bought 6 Kias from. Isn't that crazy? And I told the lady when I walked out the door, I said, do you realize that I'm not going to be driving a Kia anymore? And she said, we don't care. That was Kia Mankato. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I came home and I talked to my wife about it. Here's another phenomenal that's happening right now. Do you have a vehicle at home you want to sell? There are companies right now online buying vehicles for more than what they're worth. It's the most ridiculous thing you ever heard. And so the problem is imagine what kind of vehicles these companies are picking up. And I talked to another dealership, and they said that anytime they had a questionable vehicle, guess where their vehicles went? To those online sites. So you better be really careful buying a vehicle online, because they will buy those cars that the other dealerships don't want to deal with, that they know maybe have an issue, okay? So that's a word of caution right there. One of the things that I've discovered too recently, back in the day, these dealerships were trying to get you to buy cars so they'd give you 0% for 60 months, 0% for 72 months. Well, guess what? They don't need to do that anymore because they can't even get the cars in to sell them right now. So the teaser rates, the days of the teaser rates have come to an end with a lot of cars. Here's good news for you guys that want to buy bigger cars. Typically, with higher fuel prices, the larger vehicles go down in price. So if you want to get a Suburban, you might be able to get a good deal on it. What I've discovered, though, is I stopped in Mankato at one of the dealerships, and I saw the cheapest used car there for $25,000. So right now, it's an absolute crazy time to buy a used car. If you don't have to buy a car right now, I wouldn't do it. We cover transportation pretty good. I can't tell you enough about buying your groceries. If you know you're going to be out of town, let's say you know you're going to Mankato, you know you're going somewhere, I would definitely buy my groceries out of town. I had an experience recently where I went to Aldi's and I bought the same cart of groceries, just to give you an idea of inflation right now. So about 6 months ago, that same cart of groceries that I paid $240, $250 for is now $300. Okay? So that's Aldi's. Go to the local grocery store, it's going to be multiplied. Okay? Now, you know what's funny to say that? Guess who had the cheapest butter I've ever seen? Including Sam's Club, and Costco. Nope, this grocery store 2 weeks ago. They had the cheapest butter I've ever seen. So what did I do? I bought some and I put it in my freezer. So you find deals, stock up on them, because you know how much I think a block of butter costs right now. It's like $5 for 4. That's the normal price. It was $2 there. That's your local grocery store. So sometimes they do really get good deals if you shop their ads, you know. So it's interesting. Another fact that I discovered is you probably wondered, where in the grocery store are the increases happening? Guess what department I've seen the most increases? My personally. Dairy. Isn't that interesting? The dairy department has gotten nailed with the inflation.
Number one state.
Yeah. It's gotten nailed. So,
Eggs are gone up.
yeah. Yeah, it's nuts.
It's a bird flu.
Yeah,
That's what they say, but
yeah.
I know some of you guys don't like the apps and the technology. Could I tell you this story? So we're down in Spirit Lake, Iowa. We're at a hockey game. I know I need groceries. This was during the end of COVID. I go on the Walmart app. So I could arrange it. So I want you to look at this a little bit differently than when you looked at it. How about time? How much time do we spend running in grocery stores, running around? You know? I'm starting to realize that my time is very valuable. I've got 3 kids and doing different activities. And so it was cool. I was able to order all my groceries on the app. I knew that my hockey game was going to get done at this time at 4 o'clock. So I said, I'm going to give myself an extra half hour. So Walmart has this thing now where you can order your food and pick it up during a certain time. And you just pull up and then they come outside and they load it in your car. And then if they don't have an item, they might substitute, a different type of egg or something else, And so I did that, and I didn't have to even walk in the store. So a lot of places are doing that now where you can order your food and then you just go drive up and they load it in your car for you. So you may not be getting the huge discount on everything that you think you're going to get, but at least you're saving on your time. And Walmart has that. Sam's has that. I even saw Aldi's has pull-up places now. I don't know, Dave, did you ever use that at Aldi's?
No, they got weird rules on how to do it.
Okay. Yeah, one of the downfalls is with Sam's Club, you got to do it like a day or 2 before you go to the store. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't think that far ahead. So here's another interesting fact. How many of you guys think that everything you buy at Sam's Club is cheaper than everywhere else?
I do.
It's funny. There's actually a website out there that says these items do not buy from Sam's Club. And it's weird, some of the items. It's like they tell you to buy like toilet paper and paper towels, but then they tell you to avoid other departments. So don't always assume just because you're going to a big store that they have the best deals. It's funny how much Aldi's, I can't believe Aldi's, I really can't. If you haven't been in Aldi's yet, you could probably be saving a lot of money. We like to eat out, don't we? A lot of the McDonald's, Wendy's, Pizza Hut, they're all apps now. If you want to get their deals, you got to go through their apps. I think I talked about it. How many of you guys want a free breakfast? Would you like a free breakfast? You know what you have to do to get a free breakfast? Go to Perkins.com and register your birthday. And on your birthday month, you could go in there and they'll give you the 7, I think it's called the 7 something breakfast for free. It's like, you seniors, you guys know the deals too. there's all sorts of deals for seniors. Now, if you're struggling with food security, there is state and federal programs through Watonwa County. I put their phone number there. There's EBT, WIC, Kids Cafe. There's food banks. Monthly, it looks like we have a drive-through food shelf. I would encourage you to let people in the church know if you're having problems with food security. We're here to help. You can ask Dave. I've been advocating on our board probably since I first came on that we need to do more with giving food away. This past December, we wanted to do something with the church to bless them when we did the ham and the turkey giveaway. We're trying to be more creative in ways to bless the church and help people. Okay. We're not perfect at it. We don't see all the needs, but don't expect people to read your minds. If you're struggling financially with something, we're not, I don't have a crystal ball at home. I don't know what's going on with your life. Okay. I don't know what you're struggling with, but I can tell you in our church, we have people that really do care. And if there's a need, we'll try to do what we can to help. Because if we can't take care of our own people, what are we doing? We need to do that. So there are plenty of places that nobody should be going hungry right now. As you can tell, I'm not. I actually want to see like a monthly food bag giveaway. I've been talking with Dave about that. That's one of the ideas. Non-perishable items. Something like that. I think would be fun. This is something that you farmers, you're looking to a way to help the church. You want to help other people. You got some yard space. I think it's time we have a community garden. I really do. It's kind of funny how Redwood Falls has a community garden for their community people. Why don't the church do that? We got farmers, we got equipment, I think now is the time when we really need to think about food security. If we don't have to buy it in the grocery store, let's have it in our garden. If you don't have a garden in your house, maybe this is a good idea. If this is something you want to do, talk to the pastor about it. In some ways, I feel like Joseph preparing for a famine. And that was kind of weird too, because during this time when I was coming up with this idea, I was thinking about Joseph. And remember he had the vision about, he interpreted the dream about the 7 years of famine, And the United States is going through some hard times right now. I really think a community garden is a good idea. If there's anybody that wants to spearfish that or make that happen, I'm sure we can do that. Another aspect that I wanted to cover, and I don't have a lot of time, but is health and medical. There are apps right now. If you can't afford your medicine, don't stop taking your medicine right now. There are ways that you can help through either the drug companies, GoodRx, the insurance company. The insurance companies have programs. Watonwa County, the Health and Human Services, they have programs that can help you. Please do not stop taking your medication. Please do not stop going to the doctor. I lost my mom a few years ago. And the main reason she died was because she didn't want to have medical bill. And if she would have went in, she probably would still be alive today. So I can't stress it enough. If you have a health crisis, you need to get in and see the doctor. And worry about the bill later. I wish I could have told my mom that. I wish they would have listened to me. They're kind of an old school thinking, and I don't have my mom anymore because of that. That's a reality. And there's other people like that too. Oh, man. A lot of drugs have generic forms of drugs. and they're up to 90% cheaper than regular drugs. Be prepared that when you do go and get medicine, that they're going to have a lot of pre-authorizations they're going to run in the pharmacy. Make sure that they give you the best deal. You can actually ask them without even having the app about the Good RX, and they'll match the price of the drug with the Good RX app. I have an example. My son had, he has a special drug for acne. It's like an antibiotic. They told me $130 for this drug. Well, she said, I'm going to go on the Good RX app. And it was $80. That saved me $50, $40. So it's like, ask them. You got to ask them about it. When you go to the doctor, this is something that people don't do nowadays. Ask them if they have samples. They used to have samples all the time. My wife's a healthcare provider.
They don't have samples anymore.
Yeah, that's too bad.
They don't allow.
A lot of people are buying their medication from Canada, and they're saving a lot of money doing that. You have to be very cautious doing that. You better know where you're going from. Maybe talk to other people, talk to your medical provider, and try to make sure you're going through a reputable place. I had an example one time where I bought a medicine for my stomach, and it didn't work. And I was wondering why it wasn't working, and I don't think it was real, And so, you got to be very careful with it. There are programs with the VA for assistance. Make sure you find if you're a veteran, make sure you find all those programs. There's a free clinic in Mankato, and I put their information there. And as much as you can, go to urgent cares instead of going to the emergency room. You'll be surprised some of the urgent cares are open till 8 p.m. I had a situation just about 2 months ago where I went to urgent care at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Okay. Some people are like, we're going to go to the emergency room. What's going to happen? Big, big bill. You got to be smart, and you got to be able to doc medicine. A lot of times you can do through virtual medicine, right through your phone. It's a lot cheaper. Now, I don't want to end yet. This is one of the major things that I got on my list here for medicine. Okay, I'm going to teach you 2 words right now. Direct access. Okay, direct access. I'm going to give you some examples here. So I went in to get my A1C done. And normally it's like $200 and some for me to do it. I did it through direct access, and it cost me $70. And you have to ask them for that. Direct access. And these are some examples right here. They'll do a COVID test for $20. CBC complete blood counts, $10. This is Sanford and Jackson. Okay. That's off their price list. I got that. CMP comprehensive metabolic panel is $25. A glucose test is $10 doing that way. Your A1C is $20. Your lipid panel is $25. That must be $175 in itself just for a lipid panel if you do it normally. Okay. PSA is $40. A TSH is $30. And if you want a vitamin D shot, it's $70 through direct access. I'm telling you, there's other things that direct access that you can do. Paulina might be able to even explain a little more what it means. Here's another pointer. When you get a bill in the mail, make sure it's correct. I had a situation recently where I went to urgent care and they were charging me for an office visit, and I questioned it. Another thing that a lot of providers are doing in the area, you can ask them if you do a full payment and pay it off, will they give you a discount? And a lot of them will give you up to 10, 20% off your bill. just paying it because they just want you to get paid. They want to get paid from it. So a paid in full discount is a big deal. As I said before, check your bill. I'm telling you, there's so many times where they get keyed wrong, maybe the wrong procedure. At least you got this paper if we didn't get through it all. Just like I said earlier, I lost my mom in 2018. It's a big deal. Make sure you're getting medical treatment. Dental, okay? Dental's a big deal. There's Apple Tree Dental in Medalia and Fairmont, and they have a lot of programs for people that don't have dental insurance. In the cities, you'll notice they'll bring these clinics that will travel around, and you can go in there for free, and they'll take care of all your teeth. But you got to get there early, and you got to find out about these things. If you have housing and utility problems, can't pay your bills, there are programs with that Watonwa County that you can go through. One thing I didn't put in this originally that I was thinking about, if you guys are thinking about selling stuff or vehicles or anything, avoid eBay and other apps for selling those things because there's too many fees now. eBay, I bet you if you sold something on eBay, you might pay a 40% fee through PayPal and eBay. Use Craigslist and Facebook to sell stuff. Honestly, it's free and it's very effective. I notice some people nowadays will do a garage sale on Facebook and people will come to their house and get the stuff. So I'm trying to give you some tools that you can use to try to weather the storm, okay? I hit a lot of different stuff. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I'm glad you guys have that information. You can look over it. Of course, there's more. I realize that. You guys, I'm learning myself. There's always more. We need to pray for our country. We need to pray for what's going on right now. It's especially getting hard. Like my dad had a hard time even paying his utility bills this winter. You know, it's tough when you have a fixed income and you're living. You know, my dad didn't downsize his house like I wanted him to, and so he's living in a place that's much too big for him. And there's a lot of people like that are living in huge houses. Their kids are gone, and it's very tough to be able to heat your house, pay your taxes, pay your insurance, everything that's going on a fixed income. People are struggling. They're really struggling. Make sure you guys that are elder check in on some of those people that you know. Check in on them, make sure they're okay. If they don't have food, find a place for them. Help them. We need to do more to help other people. The community garden thing, I think, is a great idea. It's a way that we could help each other and help the community too. So